Hello, good morning. I wanted to share with you guys my journey that's just been crazy. As you have seen on social media, I have been going through a pretty serious recovery from diastasis recti repair, also known as split abs. Um, Today or this week is 6 weeks post recovery. I've done a blog on it. I've posted a little bit about it on Facebook, but I've been primarily posting on Instagram and my blog. And it's been wild seeing how many women have reached out to me and said that they have this, and they either they have it, they've contemplated the surgery, but they're scared, or they think they have it, they're not sure they have it. When I first posted about it on Instagram, I was like freaking out, having a total panic attack to share it because it's definitely the hardest thing I think I've been through my entire life, and I'm not through it, but I feel like I'm almost there. And then when I shared it, my inbox got flooded with people that I knew, actually a lot of people that I knew that had had the surgery, but never really talked about it publicly. And then a bunch of people that I didn't know that reached out and were like, oh my gosh, I have this. I'm so glad you're talking about it. So this is my story, and that's it. It's not easy to share, and I am sharing it just because I didn't know I had this. I didn't know I had this the entire time that Skylar was born. So Skylar's going to be 3 in September. And if I would have known I had the diastasis, like back when I first had her, I most likely could have prevented the surgery. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but most likely I could have prevented it. And so when I found all this out, that was the thing that kind of like stung me really hard. Was number one, how did I not know I had this? Number two, why didn't a doctor check me for this? And then three, like, why isn't anybody talking about this? Like, why isn't anybody talking about this in the real world, on social media, anything? Because if I would have known, I would have done the physical therapy. I would have hopefully prevented it. So for me, me sharing this is to help other women that either, you're just having a baby, and to be aware of it, some things that I would have done differently, and to just be aware, because if I would have known. And also, I was able to get through this journey, I feel like, because one of my friends on social media shared her story. And as soon as I found out that I had it, I had gone to her feed on Instagram. I didn't realize what she had, because until you have something, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of don't pay attention. And I remember she had some type of stomach surgery, and I went to her Instagram feed, and she had it on her page, and she had diastasis recti repair. And I was like, and I called her up right away, and I feel like she's states away, but she's totally got me through like the scariest thing of my life. So let's start from the beginning. As you guys know, I've been struggling with IBS my whole life, like digestive issues, bloating, spasms, everything. I've always been able to really control it, though, with fitness and nutrition. Eating clean. I went dairy-free this year, gluten-free. My kids are gluten and dairy-free. And that really helped like control it. And fitness has always been like my drug to help my digestive system. Well, ever since I had Skylar, I just didn't feel the same. A lot of things were off. My digestive system was a nightmare. My IBS system was like elevated times 50. And at first I was like, well, maybe it's because I don't eat the same foods when I'm pregnant. Maybe it's because I need to lose all this extra weight. Maybe it's because I have extra inflammation on my body. But I just never felt the same after my second child. After I had Brooklyn, my first, both pregnancies, I gained 50 pounds. After Brooklyn, I lost all the weight. You know, like I was back in a bikini. I was like in incredible shape. And I got pregnant with Skylar 18 months later. And then after that pregnancy, it was just a really hard pregnancy for me. And then ever since I had her, I just really struggled with everything. I struggled with losing the weight. I struggled with my IBS. And what started to happen is I was trying to heal myself through nutrition. So I was like taking everything out of my diet that I possibly could, because that's me. I don't want to go on meds. I don't want to go on IBS meds. Been there, done that. I don't want to become addicted to something that's going to help me temporarily. So I started just like eliminating everything from my diet. And sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. And I would wake up in the morning and my stomach would be flat. And by the end of the day, my stomach would be like pooched out. And I was like, what the heck? Like no matter what I would eat, like if I was eating really clean, or if I had pizza, or if I had coffee, or if I didn't have coffee, and I didn't feel bloated. I mean, I would know when I was bloated, but I looked bloated. And so I got really frustrated and I was Googling it. And then I was reading up on a hernia. So I kind of knew I had an umbilical hernia for over a year now. Yes, I hate to go to the doctor, and I was totally putting it off. In the beginning, it was right at my navel. In the beginning, it was really bothering me, and then it went away. So I had like no pain, no discomfort, nothing. So when I started to research my stomach issues, it said, well, maybe your hernia could be like strangling your intestines, because I literally felt a bulge in my stomach at one point. Okay. I went to a Super Saturday event with Shauna, which was in April. And in the car, I literally told her, I feel like, there's a bulge in my stomach. Like, I feel like my intestines are wrapped, like something's wrong. And she's like, you need to go to the ER, like right now. And I'm like, ugh, fine. So I go to the ER, they take a CAT scan of my stomach, and they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly fine. You're just constipated. I'm like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. This is not just that. I know it. I'm like, I'm not going crazy. And they're like, well, you do have a tiny hernia, a tiny umbilical hernia. And I was like, okay. And they're like, but you don't even have to have it removed. It's like the size of a blueberry, if that. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what if I do want to have it removed? And so they gave me a referral to a general surgeon. So thank God I went to the general surgeon, because in this process, I had also gone to my OBGYN, and I was telling her all of my bloating and stomach issues. And she was just like sending me to a GI doctor, which, been there, done that, like so frustrating. So she didn't catch it. So when I went to the general surgeon and I explained everything to her, I feel like it's a therapy session, because I'm literally like, all right. She's like, okay, well, you have a hernia, but it's really tiny. She's like, but that is not the problem. I'm like, okay, well, what is the problem? And she's like, lay down. So I lay down. She's like, do a crunch. And so I did a crunch. She put her hands on my stomach, and she goes, okay, you have diastasis recti. And I was like, okay, what is that? And I'm in the fitness industry, and it's like, I've heard of it before. But until she said that, I was literally like, wait a minute, what is that again? She's like, well, your abs have split. She's like, so basically when you get pregnant, your abs are connected by the linea alba, which is, a tissue that connects your rectus abdominis, right? So when you get pregnant, it stretches, okay? And after you have your baby, Sometimes it goes back together and sometimes it doesn't. She goes, most likely it went back together after your first, and then maybe was your second baby bigger, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I said, well, I carried her different. My first I carried this way, and my second I went straight out, right? And I always had a pain in the front of my stomach when I was even teaching turbo kick. And the whole time with Skylar. Yes, Becky, and that is exactly how I felt. That's exactly why I'm sharing it, is because you think you're going crazy because you can't figure this out. So she's like, okay, so anyways, here's your abs, and they're basically completely split. Okay, so instead of them being connected, they're like this. Okay, so not to like freak you guys out, but the reason that I was having all the IBS, nightmare. I mean nightmare. I couldn't drink coffee. I couldn't do anything. I said, you know, I feel like there was literally like a bulge in my stomach. And she goes, yeah. She goes, it's your intestines. Like your organs are literally falling through. They're falling forward, because normally your abdominals are a wall that they, you know, stay behind. Well, when that's completely broken open, by the end of the day, no matter what I was eating, it would completely just fall forward, which is why in the morning my stomach would be flat, and by the end of the day things would fall forward, and it would almost look like a loaf of bread. Like your stomach literally looks like a loaf of bread, like literally like a square. Your stomach looks like a square. So my abdominals would be like flat here, and then they would pop out like a square, like a square loaf of bread. And when you Google it, that's how they explain it. And when they showed pictures online, because that's what I went home, and what I always do is I Google everything. So when she told me this, I was like, how did I not know I had this? Like, I'm in fitness, I work out all the time, and I was kind of disappointed in myself. And I said, you know, but my stomach didn't look like this a year ago, even after Skylar, you know? And she goes, well, have you been doing abs? Have I been doing abs? Have I been doing abs? Wait, have I been doing abs? What are you talking about? I work out every freaking day. So yeah, she's like, you pretty much destroyed any chance you have to probably repair it, because it's been too long. Like Skylar's going to be 3. And I was doing insane planks and all this, you know, core work that just makes it worse. It just spreads it apart further. So basically, what it was for me is like your abs, my abs were connected at the top, and then they started to open, right? And then at my navel, it literally would like open to a diamond, and then it would close back together. Okay. So there's a way that, number one, you can test yourself if you look it up online, and number 2, you should have a doctor test you for this. Okay. The only reason I really feel like I figured it out, to be totally honest with you guys, is because I kept losing weight. And the more weight I would lose, and I would look in the mirror, and I was like, what the heck is wrong with my stomach? It almost looks deformed. I think that's why it took me so long to figure out that I had this, okay? Which means that there's probably so many women that have this that aren't maybe as in tune with their body, because I am in fitness and I work out every day. And I'm in the business of building transformations. So I'm constantly, you know, doing that. I'm constantly checking my fitness and taking selfies and doing my measurements and things like that. And so I said, how do I fix it? You know, and she's like, you can only fix it through surgery, through cosmetic surgery. And I just started to like bawl, because everyone has their biggest fears list, and at the top of my list is surgery. Like, I don't want to have surgery no matter what, you know, like seriously. So I just started to like have a complete meltdown. And she's like, well, you came here anyways for the umbilical hernia. That's a very minor surgery. She goes, you can just do that, but it's not going to repair this. And or you can do, we could get another surgeon. It's two surgeons, two surgeries, and we do it together and it's done. You know, she's like, I don't do this type of surgery, but I can refer you to someone else. And so I was like, you know, how did nobody figure out that I had this? Like, why isn't our OBGYN checking this at your checkups when you first have a baby? Or why aren't they giving you a pamphlet and saying, hey, watch out for this, or telling you the red flags? Or like, I literally felt like I was like the only person on the earth at that moment. Like, I was like, am I the last person to know about this, or what the hell is going on? I had heard about it. I knew what it was, don't get me wrong, but I guess I always thought that if I had it, I would just know. It wouldn't be like, oh, do I have this or not? Like, I figured I would just know it. But honestly, the whole time I was doing a lot of my workouts after Skylar, especially core, I always felt like my core, my midsection was completely disconnected from the rest of my body. So when I would do core work, I couldn't feel anything because you can't engage your abdominals, right? So it always just felt weird and a little bit painful. And I always thought it was the hernia that I was ignoring. And so this entire time, no, it wasn't. It was because my abs were split and they were getting worse every time I was working them. So after I came home and had a complete meltdown on my husband, because I was like, I can't go through another C-section. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I've had 2 C-sections and I can't go through another one and not even get a baby out of it. What the hell? I can't do this. And he's like, okay, what if we don't do it? What does that mean? You know, and this is where I remembered my one friend, Amanda. We used to be presenters for Turbo Kick together. I had remembered she had commented on my Instagram feed like a year ago and was saying how she had her stomach surgery. And I went to her feed and I was like searching. And I found this picture of her. And then she had on there, you know, I think it was like her 1-year anniversary from her diastasis recovery. And I just started to bawl. You know, I just feel like God placed her in my life in that exact moment that I needed her. I mean, I literally went and found that on the day that I came home from the doctor. And I called her up. I messaged her and she's like, you can call me right now. And I called her and I was like, please tell me this isn't as bad as a C-section, because she goes, oh, it's 1,000 times worse. And I was like, why are you telling me that? And she's like, no, I have to tell you this. I have to tell you this because it is really hard. She's like, it's really hard. She's like, the recovery is really hard. She goes, but you have to do it. And she goes, my only regret is I waited so long and ended up with chronic back pain. So when my husband says to me, what if we don't do the surgery? You know, what does that mean? Because, you know, it's considered elective. You know, it's completely out of pocket. We paid the whole thing out of pocket. Insurance covers the umbilical hernia, but the diastasis repair is 100% out of pocket, which is crazy. It's crazy. And maybe that's why it's not talked about as much, or, you know, we're not warned as much, is because of that. But I wouldn't be able to work my abs. If you can't work your core, guess what? You're going to end up with back pain, right? And my IBS was, it was off the charts. Like, that's a whole nother video. I literally could not eat anything. It was horrible. And I was miserable. And it would just get worse. And my husband's like, we either deal with this right now, or we're going to deal with it when you're older and I'm older and we're going to regret it. And I'm like, and I'm in fitness, and fitness is my life, and I love to work out every single day, and it's my thing. And for me to not be able to like perform at what my body can perform at as an athlete is devastating. It's heartbreaking. And So I took him with me. We went to two cosmetic surgeons, and the first one, yeah, that's another video, but we ended up finding another one that was fabulous. Loved her. And my husband had no clue. Like, I mean, I had done some of the research and I was trying to explain it to him, and he's like, well, it's just another C-section, right? And I'm like, well, kind of not exactly. It's kind of a lot worse, you know? And so I took him with me for the second appointment. Once I decided I was going to do it, I met with the first doctor. I knew he wasn't the right one. Found one, Googled, did the research, found one that immediately when I met her, I knew she could handle me. Like I'm an anxiety basket case with doctors. And she was so cool, calm, collected that I was like, I think she can handle me. So this might be my doctor. Thank you, Becky. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, at first my friends were like, are you going to talk about this on social media? And I have friends that have done this surgery and they don't talk about it because, you know, you're opening yourself up to be judged for sure. But you know what? It's my life. It's my body. I had a complete meltdown with my husband and I was like, I'm scared to death, like scared to death to do this surgery, but I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live like this. I want to live. Like I have worked my ass off to create this life and lifestyle, and I don't want to live like this where I can't just be and do what I want to do fitness wise and just like feeling amazing. You know, that endorphin high is what I live for. So thank you. I appreciate that. And so many people tell me like, oh my gosh, I would totally get a tummy tuck. And you know what? I don't judge anybody, but I would never have done this had it not been for, like, if I did not have the DR and the umbilical hernia. That's just me, you know? So I found a great doctor and I was like, okay, tell me what this surgery looks like. And you know, like most people don't know, but I do have anxiety. I've beat it for the most part drug free, and it is called fitness. Fitness is my drug. But you know, the surgery was a hip to hip, you know, and I just cried my eyes out because I've worked so hard my entire life working out and being healthy. And, you know, fitness is not about getting in a bikini for me. Fitness is like I'm explaining, it's a mental drug. It has helped me overcome depression. It's helped me overcome anxiety. I don't take any medications. I went through a horrible, horrible postpartum depression after my first. They tried to put me on drugs. And I said, no, you just need to let me work out. And so the minute I could work out, I was fine. And I never went on the antidepressant medications. So that's why I work out. And that's why I have built my life around fitness and a fitness business, because it saved my life many times. So when she told me that, you know, it was going to be like a hip to hip, I mean, let's just be honest, like, you know, and then they're going to go in a different place to pull the hernia out. So two surgeons, two doctors, or two surgeries, two doctors, and I just bawled my eyes out because let's just be honest, we can all say we're not vain, but come on, you know, like, yeah. So I just thought, oh my God, I'm going to look like Frankenstein, and oh my God, like I'm going to like cut my body up for no reason, and do I really want to do this? And then I just started like backpedaling and thinking, I don't need to do this. I'm fine. Like I'm healthy. I can get through this, you know, like I'm putting my body through this. I'm putting, am risking with the surgery, and you start doing all of these, horrible things in your head and trying to talk yourself out of it. And my friend literally got me through this, Amanda, and I have a couple other friends that I didn't even know had this surgery until I had a meltdown with them, telling them, I have to have this surgery, and they're like, yeah, I had that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you talking about it? Why isn't anybody talking about this? You know? And they all said the same thing. I have talked to so many people, and I have not talked to one person that was like, yeah, it's, I regret it. Or, every single one of them is the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. The recovery was hell. But every single person said it was the best decision of their life. So that's enough about how I found out I had it, why I made the decision to have the surgery. I'm 6 weeks out today. I actually have to go back in today, you guys. I have an open wound on my scar that never closed, and I was supposed to be done. I was supposed to be like 6 weeks recovery, cleared, but that didn't happen. So I have to go back in today and patch it up. And I'm like, you know what? After this, I don't want to see another doctor. Just leave me alone. I just want to freaking work out. I just want to get my life back. The recovery was insane. I have a blog and I've shared a lot of it, but I was in a walker for 2.5 weeks. It took me 30 minutes to get out of bed and get to the bathroom with my husband holding my hand. It was the most humbling experience of my life, and you really figure out who your friends are when you're going through something like this, and you really figure out how much your husband loves you, because he was basically, taking care of like a 90-year-old woman that entire time. And so it was crazy, but I will tell you where I'm at right now. It has been 6 weeks, and even though I'm still swollen, and I'm especially swollen because of the open wound still, I have, knock on wood somewhere, find some wood. I don't even know if I got wood anywhere, but knock on wood, I have not had one issue with my IBS. No bloating, no spasm, no digestive issues, like crazy, bizarre, like I can't believe it. I've been drinking coffee for the first time in months, because I would drink coffee before and it would literally flare me up and cramp me up so bad I thought I was going to die. And I can contract my abs for the first time since I was pregnant. Since before I was pregnant with Skylar. She's going to be 3, and you're pregnant for about a year. So for the first time in 4 years, I can contract my abs. It's just the little things you take for granted. So already I'm like, I can actually eat things I haven't eaten in years, because it's not affecting my digestive system. I'm not bloated. I feel great. And I can contract my abs. Now, I'm sore as hell. I'm swollen. I'm bloated. I'm not bloated, but I'm swollen. And I can't work out. Like, I've only been able to do the treadmill and the elliptical, and I am feeling like I'm losing my mind because I can't get that endorphin high, but I know that's just around the corner. And my stomach looks incredible. Like, it looks incredible. I mean, I wasn't even, that was not why I did it. I did it to be able to live my life how I want to live it. But get tested. If you're a new mom, get tested. Go, have your OBGYN check you. Go online, Google it, check yourself. My general surgeon said, like, most women go through this. And they either figure out they have it, they go through physical therapy, and they can mend it from the beginning. Or if they don't know they have it, it goes too long, they overwork out, and then you can't fix it, and then you have to make that decision as a personal decision if you want to do the surgery. Not everybody does. And another thing is, you know how after you have your baby, they tell you to wear these wraps? Well, I never wore mine. Did you wear yours? Let's be honest. I wore mine for like, a week. Well, they don't really tell you why you need to wear it. Do they? I had two different doctors and they didn't really tell me. I mean, I had two C-sections, and I mean, if I would have known that it was literally going to pull my abs back together and prevent them from splitting, or they were already split and it was going to help pull them back together, if I would have understood that, I would have worn the bad boy for as long as you tell me I have to wear it, because I have to wear this for 12 weeks. Belly Bandit is what I have found that I loved. I think like if any of my friends are going to be pregnant, like that is what I would probably buy them, because the one they give you at the doctors, or they give you at the hospital, is kind of junk. This wraps you in two spots, so you could pull it tighter at the top and the bottom. And I'm wearing this today, but most of the time I've been wearing a corset by Belly Bandit, and you can wear obviously you can wear these under your shirt and then no one would see them, but I'm totally at the point where I just don't care. I just don't care anymore. I'm like starting a new fashion statement. I just don't care. But they're amazing and they hold you in, and as a new mom, wear the freaking band, OMG, and get tested. And don't go back to working out too soon. Do the entire recovery after you have a baby. I did do that. I think I got the hernia from carrying when I was pregnant with Skylar and I was carrying Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure that's how I got that hernia. And you know what? It's hard. You know what I mean? Like your kid's crying, your kid wants you, they don't understand you're pregnant. You've got to pick them up and hold them. Like it's like an instinct as a mom, right? So I don't know if I could have prevented that, but I wish I would have understood that that's the risk that I was taking too. You know what I mean? So if you know of someone that this video could help, you can share it. I'll post my blog. I have a direct, you can just go to KristinaSullins.com/blog, but I have a direct link for just the surgery. So I'll post that underneath the live as soon as I end this. But thanks for watching. If you have questions or anything, just reach out. If you know that this could help someone, feel free to share it. Cheers. I'll keep you posted.